So for the bowl now, I have this satin piece folded into two. So the length I marked 21 inches. That's the length, the width of the bowl into two places. So I measure 21 inches and I am going to connect that with a straight line. And then I'm going to measure 7 inches here all the way down. So I'm going to cut that out now. This is the first part of the bowl. So 7 inches wide unfold and then 21 inches long. So next now I am folding the tie. So this one is going to measure 26 inches. It's going to fold into two when we are done. So we'll have about 13 inches. So we are marking 26 inches here. Then for the width, I'm marking 3.5. So 26 inches long and then 3.5 inches wide unfold. So I'm connecting with a ruler and then next we are going to cut. So next now I'm folding it to two. We are going to slant the ends. So it gives us that nice look on the bottom part. So I came up by 2.5 inches and I'm slanting to the folded end. Now we're going to cut that out. This is what we have. It's going to fall to the back like so when we are done. Now we're going to cut the band. This is the part that is going to bind all of them together. So the fabric now is folded into two. I'm marking 1.5 inch. And then the length I am going to mark 7 inches. Whatever excess we have from this, we'll just cut them out. Cut it out, but for now we are marking 7 inches. So next now, starting with the belt, I'm sewing, folding into two. I'm sewing on 1/2 inch. We're going to turn that to the right side. Also, we're going to go iron that so that it's smooth and flat. Then for this piece as well, we're going to sew that slant using 1/2 inch. And then sew the rest of the sides. It's folded into two still with right sides together. So we're going to leave a space in between that's about 2 inches. Just back stitch, lift your needle, leave about 2 inches, back stitch again and continue sewing. Once you get to this edge, you turn and close up the remaining corner, cutting out the excess threads. It's good to cut as you go so you don't have them hanging when you're done. So trim up the corners like so and then turn to the right side using a sharp object. I'm using the tip of my scissors to push the corners out. After that, the bigger piece is folded into two right sides together also. So we are going to sew it all the way to the end. We're not leaving any space. We are only closing the side. So I'm trimming the excess off. And then we're going to turn it to the right side as well. Next now we are going to fold it like so that the seam is in the middle. And then we'll go and iron it. I'm cutting out gum stay. This is the hard one. I'm folding it into two. You can use just one. You don't need to double it, but I doubled it. I wanted a bit of drama, so you can use just one. This is the hardest gum stay. the one that is the most hard. If you're using the medium one, then definitely double it because it will not give you this effect. If you are using this hard one, this one that is very strong, then you can use one and it will be fine. You will not necessarily need to double it. So next we are going to go iron these pieces. After which, this is what we have. See that the seam for this belt too is in the middle. This one is iron as it is. Now there's a hole there that we need to close. So you can either put hemming gum there and iron it, or use needle and thread to finish with an invisible stitch, or just tack it down with the sewing machine, or leave it like that. I left it like that. Next, now this is the main piece. The seam is also ironed in the middle, so we're going to put this gum stay now inside. Just put it in. It's exactly the same size, so push until it gets to the other end. So once everything is in, we are going to go hold both ends. Just sew and then trim off the excess. Also, you can use crinoline for this part. It doesn't have to be gum stay per se. You can use crinoline inside. Just get the wide one that is up to 6.5 inches at least. So after that, we are still going to join them together. So now that we have ironed that seam in the middle, the part where that seam line is showing is the wrong side. So we are folding these right sides together and sewing, so that when we're done, we turn it to the right side. So the side without that seam line is now the right side. We turn it out like so. This is what we have. Next, make sure that seam is in the middle, and then go ahead and make your pleats. You just use your hand to make this pleat. You can use needle and thread to tack it down first, or just do what I'm doing because it's quite bulky and tacking that down is going to be really stressful. So make the pleats like so, then get the middle of the belt piece and place it underneath. Get the middle and just fold it into two. That way you know exactly where the midpoint is. Then place the midpoint under the bowl that you have already pleated. So you can tack it down with needle and thread like I said. Then place this belt, this tiny piece over it, like so, right sides together. So the part that the seam was ironed has become the wrong side. The right sides together now, place it like so. We'll take this now to the sewing machine and sew it. Sew as tightly as you can. It's quite bulky, it can be tricky, but it's very possible. So place it under like so, adjust it and sew. Make sure your stitch is really tight. So after sewing, just reduce the excess and then turn it such that the seam line is hidden. It's no longer showing. So after you have turned it out to the right side like so, everything is clean. This is what our bowl is looking like. So now it's time to attach it to the dress. So we're going to be using safety pin to do that. This is the safety pin. We're going to use it to attach the dress. So from the middle of the dress, from the midpoint, we're going to measure 1.5 inches to the side. Now we're using pin to hold, just pin that spot so that you know where it is. So 1.5 inches from the middle, and then 1.5 inches to the other side as well. So in all, the space is 3 inches apart. So after pinning this point, just so that you know it, I don't want to mark on the right side of the fabric. Then from the half length, come up by 1 inch. From the half length, come up by 1 inch. So that's exactly where the press button is going to be. So press buttons, they come in two, to sew one on the dress and then sew the other pair on the bow. And while you're sewing on the dress, you're picking only the main fabric. So you sew it in such a way that it's not catching, the seam is not showing on the inside of the dress. That will give you a very professional look. After that, we are going to do the same thing on the bow. So we'll measure from the midpoint to 1.5 inch on the side, and then from the midpoint again to 1.5 on the other side. So it's going to be 3 inches apart as well, so that it matches. So after sewing on the main fabric and on the bow, this is what we have. So the next thing is to pin them together, press them together. So you do that when the child has the dress on, you just press them together, and that is it for this class. Thank you so much.